was like, and I'm like, oh no, really? Well, when's enough? We got to go way bigger. Stay out of my business. And I'm like, but you told me I want to be, this is great. I mean, if you can't, no problem. Bob would make that decision in an afternoon. I am a lady.
Welcome to the living room. Please give a warm welcome to Sherry Hamilton, Natalie Dawson, and Miss Elena Cardone.
Okay, next question.
Thank you. This is for Elena. How much did you involve in his business to understand the strategy that he do and take the pressure that it come out from him to bring it to the house?
Well, we moved to Florida in 2012 or 2013. But, his business was very different back then. It was only with the car industry, and he was going on the road, and he was speaking to groups like this at hotel rooms. And so all I would do all day long, and then Sherry comes into the picture a little later on, but there was, I think, 2 of us working, but I booked all the hotels, the food, the beverage, the organization. I dealt with the salespeople. So that really was his business at the time. And that was really it. There was nothing else. There was no Cardone Ventures. There wasn't really a big CTTI platform. Grant was the one in the back of the room. Like, he would speak and then run to the back of the room on a break and sell his little products, the King Kong package. I remember that. And, he'd sell one of those, and it was like, oh my God, he sold a King Kong package. This is great. Anyway, so yeah, I was like really involved at the time. And then as it morphed and as when Sherry and Jared came into the picture, and as the company started to grow, and then it went into different divisions, and he morphed into something else and didn't have to do that, then I kind of morphed into more of the family life. I had the 2 small kids at the time, and then they built out and trained everybody else up. So now in the business, I try to stay out of everybody's way. I kind of give opinions when I want. I will go back and say, we need an executive. Recently I assigned everybody a book. I'm like, read this book, whatever it takes. Don't y'all think we should have a conversation on changes in the future? And are we what are we doing for 5 years? What's the 5-year plan? Are we in events? Can we venture and scale and weave out of that? Because I had this vision, I'm like, I want to be an influential seat at the table. Like, this is a great business. I mean, it's a great business. Like, I don't want to abort on this business, but this business isn't going to get us to that big picture. Like, we got to go way bigger to get massive attention around the globe. Like, we got to be in the billions and billions to really get attention, not just, like 1 little billion. I mean, Bob would make that decision in an afternoon. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to, like, really, how do we do this? And so anyway, I don't want to get sidetracked on whatever, but so now, Sherry runs, Grant, Jared, Brandon, Natalie, they run all of their businesses, and I will just kind of tap in and just sprinkle some thoughts or ideas or whatever. And sometimes they stick and sometimes they don't. But I'm very clear on what I'm doing and the vision where I want us to go. And whether Grant wants to or not, my vision always wins. It just does. Like, I have zero, like I don't have to force anyone or convince anyone. I'm doing my thing. And my thing right now is I am going to do what I do for my vision of the future. I'm going to go on my missions and, I've been on sex trafficking expeditions at this point. I'm going to handle that sector and work my way all the way to the top of the food chain.
Not to traffic people, but
to end that cycle.
Right. Just clarify.
That's right. And I am going to do my thing of networking. I've got to get in the room. I've got to be a safe point. I know my role. Grant builds the business. They do all of that. They don't need me for that. Probably don't want me for that. But for the future of the minds and the people that I want to get in front of. I want to be in front of presidents, kings, decision makers, politicians, senators, governors. I need to be able to speak articulately to the point. I need to self-enhance myself. How do I do that? What do I need to do? What education do I need to be on? What training do I need to do? What rooms do I need to be in? Who do I need to meet? How do I talk to them? What boards do I need to do? How, like Grant's not doing country club. Like that's not his jam. But if I want to help with whatever realm, whether it's political or behind the scenes or where the companies are going to go, I've got to start doing the groundwork now. And I am full blown ahead, full steam. I need to get on the communication lines of the world. I need to meet the people that can help with the vision, who I can also help. And so that's what I'm doing, because it's be, do, have. I want that. It's happening. It's done. I live for my future self. I already know it. Like whether they do or not, it's happening. Like Natalie will tell you. Natalie had no interest in buying a home in Miami. And I was like, I'm going to sell you. I'm a realtor. You're going to buy a home in Miami. And she's like, and I'm like, oh no, really? And like 6 weeks later, they're buying a place in Miami. But so it's like there's just certainty. It's just like when I get my mind set on something, like it's like Grant says, you only need one, which I never really understood that. Like you need a whole group and you need people and you need an empire and you need relationships. All that's true. But when you make a decision and you have a vision, you only need you.
Yeah. That's so good. I want to expand this, because I think what Jennifer was asking also was, when Grant was at work and he would come home, how did you handle him as he was growing the business? You see what I'm saying? See, she has got some really good, because there are some unbelievable stories on this. So please.
So at that time when I was like, Grant, you need to be a billionaire, and he hated me and he was furious. You don't have to push and hound it. You get these great ideas. You know, when's enough? Da, da, da. And then I like calmed him down. I was like, no, you need to go be a leader. You need to be a world leader. We got to do this. That's when I was thinking small. I was like, oh yeah, $1 billion will get it done. No, it won't. But he would come home sometimes and I would say, how's your day? And he'd be like, oh, it sucked. I did nothing. I didn't sell anything. Nothing happened. Like, da da da. I was like, well, what are you doing home? Like, go back to the office and don't come home until you create a good day. And he would be like, you know what? You're right. And he would march on out and come back home. And how was your day? And he was like, good. I did this. Great. Now you're welcome into the house. Don't bring that in. Don't bring that in. You know, I was never, ever, like, you know, like Natalie was saying earlier, what are you willing to give up in order to get where you want to go? When you make demands of somebody that are that extreme, you've got to be a billionaire. I mean, that's like messed up, right? Because I ain't doing it. I don't know how to do it. I ain't doing it, okay? But you don't then have the right to say, when's enough, or you don't spend enough time with me, or you spend too much time at work. You can't, like, what are you willing to give up? Like, so when the guy, like, I haven't even, and we're changing some things now because we've hit certain milestones, but I haven't been on a 4th of July on my 20-year anniversary, and my kids are 13 and 15, is the first time that my kids saw me go on a date with my husband. Like, think about that. I'm like, shoot. I'm not saying that's good. Like, I've done, like, thoughts on this since then. You know what I mean? I'm like, because my whole time with him looked like, we want to reach 8 billion people. We want to make a difference. Like, there's no time to be, I made a lot of sacrifices in that for him and to us to reach those goals. And a lot of that meant if we were going out to dinner, we were always with somebody else that we were either networking with, it was always a dual purpose. We never go to this day one place for one mission. We'll always stack something else on it. Like, we always have to do something else. And so I was never like, let's go watch a movie and you turn off your phone and we're going to handhold to prove the love to each other, because Because how do you reach 7 billion people? We're running out of time. You were running out of time. How are we going to do it? I need to reach you and you need to go and then spread it. Like there's no time. So if he needed to be on his phone or put a post or God, he doesn't even stop with the Clubhouse and the Periscope and the Zooms and the this. And it comes into my life. You know what I'm saying? It comes into my life. I am doing private things in my home, like not having makeup on or being in horrible sweats or, I used to be mortified that I bounced on a Pilates ball because I sit and I bounce on this Pilates ball because I'm super active and I hate sitting still. So I never sit still. I always bounce on this ball and I get all these ideas. I wanted to keep that a secret for a long time until Grant discovered this thing called Periscope at the time, where it brings pictures live into my house. And I would say, you can bring it into the house, but don't catch me on the Pilates ball. I'm on the Pilates ball on all these Zooms. And I'm like, don't you respect me? But at the end of the day, it was like, I didn't have the luxury to say, stop that and stop this, because our goal, it was 8 billion people. And you can't do it by saying, oh, there's a time limit of when and where. So I don't know if I answered that question, but yes. I'm re-looking at things now and reprioritizing in the last year of where we're going to go and how we can be smarter. And I'm not saying my way is right. Maybe I would have done a few things differently. So, but I'm just telling you that was our priority. And rather than the hand holding in the movie theater, I had a cognition very big for me one day when I was comparing my life to everybody else's and how it should be and what it looks like. And then mine looks different, like I wanted the lovey-dovey. Like I love the way Brandon walks with Natalie and me when I'm in my heels, because Grant blasts ahead. And I'm like, how come he doesn't wait for me? I hate it. I'm always comparing myself to other people and this and that. And then I just looked at it one day and I was like, you know what? Like we're doing us and we're creating us. And that's Grant. He's going to blast ahead. I can't stop that. I can just casually kind of say, when I'm in heels or it's date night, can you just try to walk with me? And if you can't, no problem. But I would like it. It feels good. I am a lady, and it seeps in, and he's gotten so much better, but it doesn't have to be this like horrible, you're a horrible person. And that's not always easy,
Right. That's what I think Jennifer was looking for. One other aspect to that I'll throw in, just because I'm on the peripheral, is what about the times when Grant would say, get in the loop as to what we're doing in the business. And then you would be like, and how do you do that, Elena? And how are you able to support? Because it seems like there's the guys are in the supportive role here. Can we see the hands, guys and gals, in the supportive role? Okay, so how are you able to show that support and that interest in what the other's doing?
This is a tricky one because
she has the art.
Oh my God. I do. I'm like, he'll get upset that I'm not in the loop. And so then I did this whole deep dive into the business and really wanted to understand and take responsibility for many different departments. And I personally, I can preach about our products because I'm not in it every day. I'm around it. I know the nomenclature. I understand things, but I've never built a business. So what did I do? I went to Cardone Ventures, the 360. I've been to the sales, the marketing, the workshops. I've done skilled up. I'm asking Sherry, I'm taking responsibility. I want to know the finances, the this, the that, and understand this and that. The problem with all of that is the Grant, I don't think thought through, is with that comes some questions. And then I'd have my questions. Well, why do we do this? And why not that? And da, 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 da. And then he's like, why are you in my business? Stay out of my business. And I'm like, but you told me that I should be in the loop. Well, I don't want you in the loop. So then I realized, like, okay, now I'm like another 180 because now I'm like, okay, well, now I want to know and understand so I can take responsibility. But now I'm putting myself in check because when I get involved in a way that I was prior to the conversations that we just recently went through. Because you're always evolving as a couple, right? And as a new place where you're going. I realized when he originated that when I have these questions, and I was probably not phrasing them in the way that I should have, he was interpreting that as I'm not trusting him in the business and his decisions. And so now it's like, oh, I get it. So for a lot of it, either if I have a question, I'll go to the other people that I think can handle it. But then I get in trouble for that because why didn't I go to him? I've heard it all, swear to God. It's a very difficult waves that I try to ride, but I'm really trying to stay out of his business because I do trust him and he's never led me wrong. Sometimes I'll phrase it, hey, I don't know this and I want to know, especially because we recently had a friend, or the godparents of our children. The husband passed away, and it really kind of scared me, terrified me actually. And so he knows that. And so I say, look, I just want to understand your thinking, not that it's wrong or right. I'm not trying to evaluate or tell you, but I want to know what your logic is so that I can know how to think if I ever have to be put in the circumstance where I have to think like you think. And that helps. So anyway, it's an art. I'm still learning.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know where we stand, but our relationship has gotten better the more that we communicate and understand. And Sherry and Natalie are incredible allies for me. They assist, answer, help. I told somebody this story last night. Who was it? Oh, if you're there, you'll just say, oh, it was me. It'll come to me later. But somebody at the party last night, it was Robin, the lady who designed this dress. It was Robin. Robin was like, she came up to me last night and she said, I didn't know your chief operating officer was a woman. And I said, yes, Sherry Hamilton. And I said, I look to her all the time. And you know what I'm about to say, because I find myself in certain circumstances with business and people and competency and this and that. And my instant reaction sometimes is not survival. It feels like I want to just kill people.
Right.
And Sherry's got this strength through peace kind of, she doesn't fly off the handle, but you're terrified of Sherry. Like I am terrified of Sherry. But she's never yelled or treated me with disrespect. She is just like, and this is the way we're going to do this. And are we clear? Are we clear of the intention and the plan? Repeat it back to me. What did I just say just now? And she doesn't talk to me quite like this, but I've seen her in the situations. And then the people are like, you want me to do X, Y, and Z? Yes. And that's all I want is X, Y, and Z. Please don't add anything in addition to that. That's what's wanted and needed. Okay, are we clear? Good, thank you. And so many different times when I want to just blow people up, I stop and I say, how would Sherry handle this situation? Like I try to channel my inner Sherry so that I can, be better.
Well,
everybody needs a Sherry.
Well, this even happened the other night where we showed up to dinner. It was a 7:00 dinner. I think we showed up like 5 minutes late, and the other 4 gentlemen that were supposed to be joining us.
Wait, time out. I just want to say, Grant and I walked out of our door at 3:00 and I am racing down the hallway. And he was like, because normally it's him racing down the hallway. I was like, Grant, it is 7:03. Sherry is there. We cannot be late for Sherry. We cannot be late. And he was like, what is going on? I was like, we're going to be 10 minutes late. And then we got lost on our floor and I was like, oh my God, the sweat is starting to come out. I was like, we can't be late for Sherry. Okay, go on.
Well, then we show up to this dinner and 4 seats are missing, and they're our team members. And I didn't say anything, but then they came in and they had these nice jackets on with nice shirts on. And I was like, can I say the person's name or no? Jared, you look so nice. And he was like, well, yes, it was suggested that we change our clothes. And I said, how was it suggested? And apparently, when the boys got there early, they were 10 minutes early for this dinner reservation. Sherry said, thanks for dressing up tonight, gentlemen. And that's all it took for them to take their Hawaiian shirts off or their plaid shirts off and put on some proper dinner attire.
Yeah.